Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Vargo, and this is episode 26 of Can I Ask You One Question, where we dive into the minds of industry experts and thought leaders, and we try to learn one critical thing from them that we can apply to our professional lives and sometimes even our personal lives. And I have with me here David Priemer, who is founder of Cerebral Selling. David has been published in Harvard Business Review, as well as Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Inc. magazines. And he's also the author of a fantastic best-selling book, Sell the Way You Buy, which is a empathy-based approach to driving revenues, which I think is an approach that a lot of doctors, healthcare professionals, especially ones who own their own practice, can really relate to. So, hello, David.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be with you. Thanks for inviting me.
So, David, in optometry, there's a lot of competition, which creates a lot of options. And private practice optometry, this isn't always the case, but they're sort of known for providing a higher level of customer service and a higher value of products and services. But patients don't always see that. And so sometimes the mind of the patient goes to, where can I get this cheaper? So my question to you, using your background in your approach to science and empathy, how would you deal with the price objection?
Yeah, well, look, the price objection is almost like the "I'm busy" objection in dating. When you ask someone out and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Steve, I'm busy on Saturday night," like that could mean anything, right? So when someone says it's too expensive, I'm not really sure what that means. And so oftentimes what we'll do in sales is we'll kind of shoot back with, first of all, some empathy and acknowledgement. Hey, look, I totally get it. I wish all of our services were free, but unfortunately they can't be. Just out of curiosity, when you say it's too expensive, what are you referring to? By the way, the reason I ask is because sometimes when people say it's too expensive, it means A, B, and C, right? So I've just bundled a whole bunch of tactics that I cover in my book into that narrative there, where I acknowledge and empathize. I say, hey, look, I reframe. It's too expensive. People typically, when they say it's too expensive, I give you the menu of things, and that lets you basically choose. And then once I have a better sense for, well, what's the real barrier here? Maybe it's you don't see the value. Maybe like, shoot, I really do see the value, but I just can't afford the thing now. And so this becomes an issue of like, pricing and payment logistics. Like, okay, what if I made installments for you? You know what I'm saying? So depending on what you say, I might take the conversation in a different direction and see if I can disarm that objection and get to the root cause of it.
There's a level of understanding that goes on there. Is it safe to say this, that a lot of times objections are like these obstacles that we have to find out, is it valid, is it real, or is, like you said, is it just something that they're putting a delay tactic on because they're really not going to do it? I heard this phrase once and it really resonated with me. It was in the world of sales, it's not a sin to not get the sale. It's a sin to spend a long time not getting the sale. So is there some of that that goes into what you do in terms of trying to identify not just a better understanding of what the true objection is, but also trying to identify, is this something that we're going to end up spending a lot of time on with something who's potentially not going to be interested at all? And it allows us to get past that quickly instead of spending a lot of time, again, to get a no.
100%. Well, I'll tell you. So my father, he's semi-retired now. He was a dentist, and in the later part of his career, he became an expert in obstructive sleep apnea and started treating patients with sleep apnea with dental devices and so on. And he's, I'm very proud of him. He speaks. He does all these things. But when someone comes in and they say, Doc, like, how much is it? And he says it's going to be like X. He can tell immediately, almost at this point, whether or not that person's a good fit. Like, oh, well, if it's not covered by insurance, I'm just going to go back to my thing. Like, meanwhile, this is your health. So like, so either you care about your health enough to spend the thing, but he knows, like, typically when I get these objections and the person sounds like this, I know ultimately, like, the way I kind of think about it on an intent level, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is I'm really excited to buy your thing, you need to be like an 8 in order to buy, buy your thing. And so the question is, where is this patient coming in at? Are they a 2 or a 3? Or are they a 5 or a 6? Because if they're a 5 or a 6, I can probably sell them in the most ethical and nice way up to an 8 until they're going to buy something. But if they come in at like a 2 or a 3, I might ratchet you up to a 5 and you're still not going to buy anything from me. And I actually have quite a lot of data from my background on this concept that I refer to as sell more, by losing faster.
Mhm.
And through the compilation of thousands of data points in my VP of sales roles, I found that we were spending much longer in the, if I call it, discovery phase of our sales cycles for the deals that we ended up losing than the deals we ended up winning. So I would say to you and everyone listening here, if you're trying to sell whatever products or services you are to your patients, and they're giving you objection after objection, and the whole thing is being dragged out, it's kind of like, again, like dating. It's like someone keeps giving you excuses. Well, you know what? It sounds like they're just not that into you. And you have to be good at being able to identify, are they a 2 or 3 or a 5 or 6 or 7? And that's going to save you a ton of time, because the ones that actually are more judicious about where they spend their time actually end up making more money at the end of the day.
I can't recommend the book highly enough. Sell the Way You Buy. Get it. We just scratched the surface on all the things that are in there that really translate well to the role of not just people in the world of sales, but anyone in the healthcare space as well, certainly optometry. So, David, thanks so much. I appreciate your time. Where can people find out more about you, and where can they get a copy of their own book?
Yeah, so the book is available on Amazon or wherever you buy books, called Sell the Way You Buy. And if you feel like listening to 6.5 hours of me reading my own book, then it's available on Audible as well. And my website is cerebralselling.com, and that'll have links to my YouTube channel. If you're into Instagram, I do a free Facebook group where I do training all the time, so all the resources are there for you.
All right. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Buy the book. And everyone, thanks for listening. And you can find the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes at drstevevargo.com. So thanks again, and we will see you next time.